Hello everyone, welcome to my series 2 video in my So You Want to Make a Bra tutorials. In this one we're going to be looking at the inside of a bra and giving you an idea of how you want the finished bra to look, and more importantly perhaps why we want it to look like that. Because bras definitely fall into the clothing category of intimate apparel. If your bra is in close contact with some quite sensitive parts of your body all day long. None of us wants to be fiddling about with our bra all day because something's digging in or rubbing or is generally uncomfortable. This is where the order of construction is really important, because you want to make sure that the inside of your bra feels as smooth as possible. Bra pattern instructions will, or at least should, take you through the construction process step by step. Sometimes though, certain steps can seem to be a bit out of sequence or counterintuitive sometimes. But there is a method in the madness of the order of construction. Honest, there is. This video is just to explain a little bit about the why when it comes to bra making. There's a separate tutorial on the how coming up. This particular bra is a pin-up girl's classic bra with a little bit of lace shenanigans going on here. At the front and also on the back band. If I turn it over, you can see on the back band there, just to pretty it up a little bit. If you're thinking that the back band looks a bit odd, that's because this particular one has had a downward hike alteration in the back, and also in the front it's got a Gothic arch. More of those styling and fitting things later on in subsequent videos to this one. Let's have a look. Hopefully you can see that there's top stitching along the cup seams. Well, hang on a sec, let's just get a different bra. You might be, this is a bit pale perhaps, this one's got contrast stitching, so let me pop that there. Hopefully you can see that the cup seams have got top stitching either side of the seam. Now usually we do top stitching for decoration in regular dressmaking projects, if you do normal dressmaking, and certainly I think it looks good on a bra, but that's not the real, or well, maybe the only reason why we do it on the cups. Let's go back to this one. If we look inside, you can see that the seams lie nice and flat, and that the seam allowances have been cut back, right back to, well, probably half, maybe even less. The top stitching is keeping the seam open and flat. Okay, now the fact that this particular bra is made from Duoplex, which doesn't fray, makes it easy to really cut these seam allowances right back. But what you're aiming for is that there should be no kind of excess fabric that can ruck up or flip over and irritate whilst you've got your bra on. Top stitching is also used at the side seam between the Duoplex frame and the, whoopsie daisy, the Duoplex frame and the power net along here. This has got a double row of top stitching because it's adding strength to the seam. This seam needs to be really strong because it's the brace between the band and the frame that makes the underwire structure work. I talked about that in the previous video. Okay, it's really important to top stitch each seam as you go along, because you're going, as you can imagine, in the center of the cup. Once you've got all the cups sewn together, it's going to be very hard to get to the individual seams to top stitch them properly. So I try and teach my students to sew, press and top stitch, and that should be your mantra for every seam when you're making a bra. Once the fabric pieces are stitched together, then we do the elastics. So we have the bottom band elastic, the top band elastic, which runs up into the straps on this particular bra, and the neckline trim. This often is one of the more counterintuitive parts of this process, and it can catch us all out when we're beginners. or well, maybe that was just me, but anyway, the band elastics are first sewn onto the right side of the bra, with the plush side facing upwards and the fancy edge also facing upwards. This seems to be completely mad when you look at the finished bra. But we sew the elastics on in 2 passes, as it's called. The first lot of sewing is to get close to this picot edge so that when it's flipped to the inside, it peeks out nicely underneath the bra. Then we turn the elastics inside to the wrong side of the bra and sew it along this opposite edge. So there's the picots, and then we stitch it along here. Normally with a three-step zigzag, just because it looks nicer. And you can see hopefully along the top band it's stitched along here. Now this is so that the elastic doesn't flip over when you're wearing the bra. You can kind of see, can't you, that if you had a row of stitching, just this stitching here, and you just simply turned it to the inside and this edge was free, it would catch and be very uncomfortable indeed. So yes, if you're using a fancy neckline edge, that is also sewn in exactly the same way. 1 pass to secure the fancy edge and the second pass on the inside to secure the other edge, so nothing can irritate. A fold over elastic neckline finish is slightly different to a fancy neckline, and I will cover that in a separate tutorial when we come to actually sewing up a bra. I know I keep saying that we'll come to that later, but I'm easily distracted and I don't want to go off down a rabbit hole and confuse you any more than I have to by starting to talk about something else. So then when we've got the elastics all on, you sew on the channeling. There's a brilliant tip to do with the channeling that I'll cover when we start talking about sewing the bra up. But we sew the channeling on, it covers up the seam between the cup and the frame, and also it covers the top edge of the elastic underneath the cups. If you sewed on the channeling and then flipped the elastic to the inside, you'd have this ridge underneath there, which would be very uncomfortable. So that's what I was saying, there is method in the madness. You think, well, I've stitched this on, I can stitch that on at any time, but it doesn't really work like that. Okay. Where else? Last but not least is to add the hook and eye, which is fairly explanatory. Your pattern instructions will tell you how to do that. There's nothing magical about that, it's just a little bit tricky. And if it's a really, really nice bra and you're happy with it, of course, you can sew your bow on. So obviously this has been quite a whistle-stop tour, and it's like I said at the beginning, this is not how to do it. This is just a little bit of a description as to why we do it. So that if you're reading your pattern instructions and you think, well, why haven't I finished this bit before I've started another bit, you might be able to understand a little bit more. And so what I want you to take from this video, if nothing else, is the inside of your bra. You're aiming for it to be as smooth as it can possibly be. So that there's no loose bits of anything that's going to crease up and be uncomfortable. That's what we're hoping for anyway. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and click subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.